Hi everyone, I am Sandra. I'm a mom who's been touched by addiction, and I have Luke here who has also been touched by addiction and has an addiction problem, but he's been in recovery for a couple of years now. And we've been having great discussions because what I have gone through as a loved one and what you have gone through, Luke, as someone who has an addiction problem, or you've been sober for 2 years. The similarities are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And today we decided we'd talk about balance, how balancing your life as someone in recovery compared to myself as a loved one who has lost my son. I lost my son last July to addiction. Are so similar.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about balance, like how it's affected you? And
I think a big thing in recovery is like having structure. We were talking about this, right? Mind, body, spirit, there's the whole thing of it. And I think this topic came up too, is because I've been working a lot lately, starting this little painting business and working for another job. And I noticed this week I wasn't getting into my, exercise and workout routines. I made a couple of my meetings, but I wasn't so connected with some of the guys in those meetings, and you could really start to feel more quick. You talked about it, right? Like quick to impatient or agitation, and maybe my dad could say something to me and I take it personally, right? And and kind of look down my nose at him, right? So balance is a very important thing of taking care of myself, and I think a lot of people go through this when they're dealing with addiction or, a loved one with addiction.
Right. It's that disconnect.
Yes.
Right. We were talking about that disconnect. I know, I did a video just the other day, how I was feeling disconnected, and finding my identity again is a whole nother piece of it. And we were saying with balance too, I don't know about you, but my moods would be up and down. I'd be manic. I would be really good one day and I'm feeling good, and then the next day I'd be so low that it's like, whoa, what happened here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and it's how do I get back to that balance? And we were saying how we're doing these videos and we are supporting others by sharing our story. But what happens when we're not balanced? Right? We're not balanced. We're having that off day. We want to share that.
Yeah. How it affects us,
how
right?
it affects us.
And I was talking, right? Like how I can still, when somebody says, when you're trying to advocate and you share openly about your recovery, people tend to say, like, you're so strong, like you're able to show up and stuff like that. And sometimes that can be kind of almost a danger if you start forgetting about yourself and constantly trying to show up for others, because it's almost like my mind can play a trick that I'm doing good because I'm being there for others. But like we say, we can't fill another person's cup till our cup is filled. And being able to be aware of that's what you're doing too, right? Like be able to say no to people and not feel bad that you couldn't share out. Because in the end, if I don't take care of my recovery and my well-being, I'm useless to nobody. And I can go right back down that old path that I was in.
And that is such a great point, Luke, because I've always talked about self-care, self-love. My son was active in addiction, and I remember going through trying to fix him, but it wasn't until I stopped and started taking care of myself. And I say this to loved ones. And it sounds like it's the same thing as someone with the substance use disorder. If you don't take care of yourself first, you can't help anybody else.
No.
And that's a big part of it, and that's why we're here sharing, is because it's about us. It's about what you do for your life and being true to yourself.
Exactly.
First. It's not selfish, it's self-love, self-care.
To thine own self be true, right? Yeah.
Say that again?
To thine own self be true. It's a big important thing, especially too, like being there, the balance. Like, here's a big thing for balance for me is like going to bed at like the same time, like making that commitment, right? And waking up at the same time, and being people pleasing, come out in here trying to help people where you're on the phone with somebody now, till 10:30 at night or something. You're getting to bed later, and then you're feeling it, and then you're out of that balance. Now you're disconnected with the spirit, with yourself, and it's a danger sign for me, which I'm aware of it. And I can feel that a little bit this week.
And knowing it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's knowing it's okay to say, you know what, not a good time. I need some time. I need a couple of hours. Can I get back to you tomorrow? I feel you. I hear you. But it's being able to do that. And I think the self-confidence in what you're doing for yourself is a big part of it.
Yeah,
because you use the word people-pleasing. And it's so easy to get pulled into that. Well, I'm helping someone. It feels good to help someone. But in the end, if you're not helping yourself, that long-term effect could be...
It can be detrimental. It can be deadly. Too. It can be very deadly because you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You're not telling anybody about it. You're trying to continue to show up for other people, and you're not using... I shouldn't even say you. Like my experience, I disconnected from people that helped me out a lot, right? And it's, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm helping these people or trying to be of service.
And you're so strong. Like I know for me, I'm a strong human being and people see, wow, you're so strong. How do you do it? And I do see myself as a strong person.
Yeah.
But as a human, we all have our low points. Doesn't matter how strong you are. Doesn't matter how self-confident. Doesn't matter any of those things. We are human beings and we feel all kinds of emotions. And in the end, we're being true to ourselves. And if we're true to ourselves, we keep that balance in our life.
Yeah.
Right? What I am always blown away about is how what you have gone through and what I have gone through as a loved one are so similar. So similar. We talked about taking things personally. I know when Ben was using and saying horrible things, I can't take this personally because that's not him. You also were saying that sometimes you might take things personally. Like we go through that manic, I feel so good, and then all of a sudden you're like, somebody says something, it's like, whoa, what?
Yes.
You know?
And you know, it's funny you say that. I live with my mom and dad. They've been by my side, you know, through this whole journey. And when I'm out of that balance that we were talking about, one of them might say something, or like, I noticed this, or I thought you were going, whatever they end up saying, and I take it personally more because I am in that place of being out of balance. And then I start going into my head thinking, oh my God, am I doing bad? Is it this? And I close off from them. Where it doesn't need to be taken so personally. I can just kind of take it for what it is, what they're saying, and maybe it's time for me to take a pause and assess what's going on in my life today. Where am I maybe not getting the proper rest or doing the proper thing that I need to do for Luke, so I can show up.
And, you know, I want to end this on mind, body, spirit. We were talking about that. I got a tattoo, mind, body, spirit, like 30 years ago. What I loved is that you said it's like a tripod.
Yes.
Mind, body, spirit. And if one of those tripod legs aren't there, the balance is off.
And and then all areas of our life are affected.
Right? And so it's keeping that balance with your mind, body, spirit. It's all connected.
It is.
Love that.
Love it.
Love that. So keep the balance. Self-care, self-love is not selfish.
No.
You know, fill your cup up so you can fill other people's cups. Right? And remember, where there is breath,
there's hope.
Amen.
Amen.
Peace. Take care, everybody. Thanks.